tie rods are made up of two parts: the inner tie rod, which connects the steering rack, yellow arrows, and the outer tie rod, which connects to the steering knuckle, red arrows. This close-up of one side shows where the outer tie rod connects to the steering knuckle, red arrow, where it screws into the inner tie rod, blue arrow, and the rubber boot protecting where the inner tie rod connects to the steering rack, yellow arrow. Where the tie rods connect is where a shop will make changes when doing your alignment, red arrow. When you are replacing the tie rods, you will need to get the vehicle professionally aligned afterwards, but make sure to mark the adjustment area or count the amount of screws or turns when removing the old section. This way, when you install the new part, you can get it close enough to not damage your vehicle while driving it to the alignment shop. Use a 21mm wrench and break loose the retaining nut before you remove the tie rod from the steering knuckle, red arrow. Use a 21mm wrench, red arrow, and a T30 torque, yellow arrow, to hold the ball joint stud from turning and remove the nut on the ball joint to the steering knuckle. The ball joints are held in place with a surprising amount of force. While you can whack away at the top of the joint with a hammer, you are really running the risk of bending and or damaging part of the suspension. Make sure to use the proper tool. A ball joint separator, red arrow, will make quick and easy work of separating the joint. Note, do not get any part of yourself around the joint when separating, as it has a tendency to let go with substantial force. With the ball joint free, you can now change out the outer tie rod section. If you are changing the inner tie rod section or replacing a damaged protective boot, red arrow, you will need to remove the inner section from the steering rack. Release the two clamps on the boot and slide the boot back off the tie rod. Next, use a very large adjustable wrench and unscrew the inner tie rod joint, red arrow, from the steering rack. Installation is the reverse of removal, and do not forget to get your vehicle aligned. Thanks for watching. Click here to view the original article along with hundreds of other DIY content for your car.